We did it. So we are on Friday, day 10 of our, it was originally a 2-week Bible study, but changed it to a 3-week Bible study because I decided that weekends would be off. So I decided that it would be a Monday through Friday thing. So we have that last week, this week, and then one more week. We have 4 days in the next week, and I'm gonna do something special on Friday. But today we talk about time, and so I feel like the 3 weeks with 3 weeks of Bible study and this Live Slow Bible study this time was very significant because it was kind of out of my hands, and it was something that I didn't predict would unfold the way it did, which is honestly just a reminder for me that God's in control of time. God's in control of our time, and to designate a time in the morning specifically to offer it to Him is very important. So I hope that wherever this video finds you, wherever this email finds you, I hope and pray that, and I prayed for you guys this morning, I pray that you guys sit and rest and rely on Him, because this book is about discipline, and to have that discipline in your life to daily walk with Him is so vital. The topic of time today, how many of us have ever said, I don't have enough time, there's not enough time in the day? Or how many of us have ever gotten frazzled or flustered or stressed or worried about the lack of things we're accomplishing? I have. I am like a recovering workaholic. I have hair falling out. It's like post-baby stuff. I used to stress myself out with trying to get too much done in too little time, because honestly, I was just setting unrealistic expectations for myself. And peeling back the layers of this chapter, as well as truths that are in the Word, which she brought up scripture constantly, I realized that it wasn't my plans that I was it wasn't His plans that I was relying on, that it was my plans. And that's why I didn't have enough time throughout the day to accomplish my to-do list. I love to-do lists and I love checking things off, but I have learned a valuable lesson since having my baby girl, I guess it's 3.5 weeks ago. I can't believe she'll be 4 weeks old on Sunday. Y'all, time slow down. Anyways, so I have intentionally slowed down my life, and I have intentionally lessened my expectations of myself. I guess that's not really like a popular thing of why would you decrease your expectations. I'm not decreasing what God can do through me, but I'm decreasing my responsibility or the pressure I put on myself to accomplish these wild and ferocious checklists every single day, because I really just wanted to live slow. I wanted to enjoy this season. I wanted to slow down my pace and unrush myself. Specifically, I wanted to unrush my mornings so I wouldn't feel frazzled to start the day with. So when we talk about the concept of time, it's not that we don't have enough time, it's that we don't spend our time stewardly with what we are supposed to be doing. All right, it says we cannot make it any more of it time. We can only receive it and be faithful stewards of it when it is in use. I don't have time is probably a lie more often than not, covering the I don't want to. So it's not necessarily we don't have time to do our Bible study. We don't have time to work out. We don't have time to eat right. We don't have time to call that friend. It's that we don't want to. It's not a priority. And it feels a bit harder to say that, right? I think you guys have probably all heard that before. So let me go on to another part of this chapter that I really liked. Gosh, my hair is like falling out in clumps. It is the idea of being interrupted. Speaking of interruption, my hair is falling out. It is the idea of being in the zone, maybe wanting to have that moment of silence like we talked about yesterday, wanting to have that moment of calm in your day, but then you're interrupted by a phone call, by a message, by your kids. Like nothing is ever calm. Nothing is ever like secluded and necessarily all your time. And I get that because it stresses me out. Like when I'm in the zone and I'm just trying to focus and I have my music playing, or I'm just sipping my tea, reading this book, and something happens. For example, okay, Scotty poops in her pants. Scotty poops all the time, okay? Or Nick, does something crazy and funny and it interrupts me, or Everett throws something and or the TV is on. There's so many distractions, and I get frustrated. I get flustered. I'm like, I just need this calm time and I need this moment to myself. Please, everyone, just leave me be. And then I recognize that if God is the orchestrator of all time, that if God is the one who's going to be separating time and honestly spending my time as He wills, then what if those interruptions are even given to me by Him? It says here on page 98, Lord, where there are interruptions, it seems that the disposal of the time I had planned so well had slipped out of my hands. So like I lost control of the time that I had planned. But God is the author of time. So if he's the author of time and I'm surrendering my day to him, then I must trust that every minute is intentionally there. So she goes on to say, help me then to remember that it is not slipped out of yours, that if you do have an interruption come into your day, that it is not a surprise to God. It could be something we could have planned a bit better, or it could be something that's just honestly a coincidence and out of our control. So my reverse thought should be, God, what do you want me to do with this interruption? God, I understand I'm trying to focus right now and I'm trying to pray, or I'm trying to do my devotion. I'm trying to, spend time with my kids, and I have all these distractions, all of these busy thoughts. Calm my thoughts, but let me honor you even with these interruptions. In your hands, these unexpected things will be fashioned into an unexpectedly beautiful design. Oh, so it's like we have to trust God so much with the discipline of our time that if we are literally walking through the day, trusting that each minute is his and that each hour is his, that the things that we plan, if we have something that we need to accomplish that day or a million things we want to accomplish that day, and we ask him to bless that or ask him to help us through that list, have realistic expectations for yourself so you don't get flustered and frazzled, because if you are putting too much on yourself, you will get burned out. And it's just one of those things, like there is always enough time for the will of God. You have 24 hours in a day. I have 24 hours a day. Jesus had 24 hours in a day. But there is always enough time in our day to accomplish God's will. He didn't give you more to do that day than he gave you time to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just maybe you weren't a good steward of the time you had been given, and so that's obviously a discipline area. But think about Jesus at the end of his life. I mean, he was pulled in 1,000 different directions, right? And it talks about that on page, dog flapped it, eared it, whatever it's called, 99. It says that Jesus could have had a lot of moments where he was flustered because he was going around to all these towns during his 3 years of ministry. And I mean, there were a lot of people that he couldn't heal. He didn't have time to sit there and heal them or to talk to them or to meet one-on-one with them. There are a lot of people who didn't even hear about Jesus passing by until he was already gone. But Jesus still secluded himself into, the lonely days in the wilderness, or, parts of gardens and whatnot, to stand alone and pray, because he still had to separate himself with all of the demands. Think about it. He did so much ministry and spoke to so many crowds that a lot of times him and his disciples, they didn't even have time to eat. Like, they were maxed out. They were running nonstop. It says in the Bible clearly that the disciples even went to go find Jesus praying in the field, and they said, "Where are you? We need you." But Jesus had to separate himself, because even though he was focused on accomplishing God's will, he knew that first and foremost, to give God his time in that secluded area of prayer and surrender was necessary, even as Jesus, who became man. All right, follow me here. How many if-onlys Jesus must have had left behind? How many could-haves could he have done? There must have been things also that Jesus himself would have liked to accomplish during his 3 years of packed public ministry, because he was a man. But he was a limited man with time and space. Yet he took time to rest, withdraw to the hills to pray alone, and sometimes taking his disciples to lonely places where they had been free of the crowds. Still, he was able to make this amazing claim: "I have finished the work you have given me to do." This was not the same as saying he has finished everything he could possibly think of, or that he had done everything others had asked him to do. He made no claim to have done what he wanted to do. The claim was that he had done what God had given him to do. Okay, so that's like a complete rewiring of our brain. We need to accomplish what God has us to do and not what we have us to do. A lot of it might merge, but you need to surrender your list today and say, "God, is this exactly what you want me to do? And I know and trust that you have given me the exact time to do it." So simplify your life, simplify your list, take the pressure off yourself, and just realize, act like Jesus here. Act like Jesus. And even though there's going to be things in your day, things on your list, things in your life, responsibilities that you think that you have, where you say, "If only I could have gotten there. I could have helped this person, or I could have responded better, or if only I did this additional thing, I could have, excelled in my job." You have to think, what has God given me to accomplish today? And then do that exact thing. Maybe it's little, maybe it's grand. Elizabeth Elliot talks about the fact that she travels all the time, and she works all the time, and she speaks all the time, okay? So it's not like God just wants us to lay around and do nothing. It's not like living slow is not being productive. Yes, we must live slow in our hearts and live slow in our attitude and actions to trust God's plan, but we still have to take action. We still have to obey, and we still have to work, because diligence is biblical, okay? Like, to be obedient, you have to be obedient in your responsibilities and your gifts and your strengths and your work, which is what we're going to talk about next week. And there's always time to do the will of God. So you can never say, I don't have enough time today. Yes, you do have enough time today. And if you tell yourself that you don't, it's a lie. And it's because you are trying to accomplish your list and not accomplish God's will today. Right? All right. So sit on that, chew on that. I'm going to chew on it, because I have been recovering from this lie of feeling like I have to do too much. I'm 30, how old am I? I'm 32 years old. I've been struggling with it for 32 years. But let's today just focus on Him and find peace and joy and contentment, knowing, God, I will accomplish your will today. And at the end of the day, I will say, I have finished the work you've given me to do. And then we're going to wake up in the morning and do it again. All right? That's what we're going to do. So happy Friday. Love you guys.